Good evening. How is everyone today? Yes, I want to thank you all for coming out to the Wealth Wellness Seminar today. And so we're going to go over certain things to help you keep your wealth as well as get you on the right path, even though things may not look as good in this economy. So let's jump on in and get started. So now I want to go over the overview of the presentation. The first thing I want to go over is there are three types of incomes. There are three types of passive income. And then we're going to go over the pros and cons of each one. And then we're going to talk about one in particular in this presentation called network marketing. So y'all ready? Let's go. There are three types of income. The first one is called earned income. The second one is portfolio. And the third one is passive income. Earned income is pretty much what majority of America is experiencing when you trade hours for dollars. So for example, if you're making $15 an hour, that's considered earned income. And so it's mainly linear in fact that as many hours as you work, you earn a certain amount of money. Portfolio income is income that you get from your stocks and bonds that pays a dividend. So for example, if you look at some of your stocks and they pay a yield of 15% or something like that, or it says 40 cents per share, then that will be your portfolio income. And that is income that comes from your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, if they are paying a dividend, or even life insurance. There are some out there that's paying a dividend for your life insurance. And then finally, there's passive income. Passive income is income that you do one time, is paying for something that you do one time, and it pays you over a lifetime or over a certain amount of years. For example, if you wrote a book and you sold it, you'll get something called royalties. So for every time somebody buys a copy of your book, even though you wrote it one time, you will get a royalties for as long as the book is sold. And so let's dive into deeper about passive income, because out of the three, passive income is the least taxed out of the other three. So you might ask, what are the main types of income? Well, there are many different types of income, many different ways you could get passive income, but the three main types are commodities, real estate, business, and then of course some people will say stocks and bonds would count, but it's really, I consider that more so portfolio than passive income. Because if the business goes under, then you lose any types of dividends or types of income that you may have, and you're not in control of it. But with these, you have a little bit more control over the income that you make in those aspects. So the three types that I'm going to go over are commodities, real estate, and business. Now the commodities, you might be asking, what is commodities? Commodities are anything like, if you ever seen the commercials that say you have gold, you want to buy silver, you want to buy platinum, uranium, or any other precious metals, or even things as simple as sugar and oil would be considered commodities. So now let's go into the pros and cons of each one. The pros of it is they're tangible. You can actually touch them, you can see them, you can feel them. And they also can create good cash flow if you know what you're doing, especially oil. As everybody know, if you could have jumped in around the early 90s or 2000 in oil, a lot of people would have been millionaires, because that was when we had to jump from when gas was like 95 cents to $1, and then it jumped all the way up to $2 to $3 per gallon, and it's been that way ever since. Now the cons is it depends on the market. So if the market is not doing well or there's an inflation, then definitely commodities are a good view to look at. But if things are going good with the currency and things are going well, then commodities are more so not looked upon as lightly as they would. Then it also can be complex because sometimes you want to understand how you value a certain commodity. Even though one set of people may say one thing or another may say another, it's kind of hard to determine the actual value of a commodity. You can go off the market, but it actually depends on how much you are able to resell that particular item that you have, whether it's gold or silver. Third is no one actually think about storage. So you get these gold bars in, where are you going to put them? Were you going to put them in your closet, or are you going to put them in a vault like in DuckTales with Scrooge McDuck? Not too many people that I know of have an in-home vault. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to some like a bank or wherever you bought your gold from, and you're going to ask them to store it for you, which comes up to another fee, which is storage fees. And that can actually deplete your money quicker than the actual inflation that money can have. And then it can be risky because let's say if you try to buy an oil well, if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually lose a lot of money because of the lack of knowledge. Now, I want you all to write that down because that's going to be a key word as we go along in this presentation, knowledge. The second one is one of my favorites is real estate. And the good thing about it is there's pros and cons to it as well. One is that it produces good to great cash flow. When I mean good to great, it can produce good cash flow if you're doing residential because there's not that much risk, not as much risk per se as involved with as it is in commercial. And it's easier to get in than it is in commercial. And then when we go into great cash flow, if you are able to get into the commercial aspect of real estate, then you can have great figures in cash flow. For example, you can easily get $100,000 per month in an income in real estate if you know what you're doing. So not everybody would experience that type of income, but it's possible if you know what you're doing. It has extra benefits. One of the extra benefits is that you can have a ghost write-off, which is called depreciation. And so that's something that you can write off on your taxes as well, is your depreciation costs. And then finally, you make money from debt. This is what people are called good debt, because if you're doing it correctly, your income should supersede your mortgage as well as the expenses that has occurred onto the real estate. Now the cons. To get the great cash flow, it can require a large investment. And if you don't know what you're doing, hint, hint, knowledge, you can lose really, really big in real estate. There has been some people that lost 400, 4 million, $40 million in real estate just because they didn't know what they were doing, or there were certain things that surprised them and they wasn't aware of the market or aware of their due diligence or did the proper due diligence on the properties. And so that's how most people lose it big in real estate. Now let's go into business. There are three main types of businesses. One is traditional, which is a person who starts their own business like Microsoft or an Apple, or even, for example, like Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, where there's a person that starts it from the ground up and goes into a great empire. Another one is called a franchise. That would be something like a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Dave and Buster's, or a Chipotle. Those would be something that would be like a franchise where you can buy into a ready-made system and leverage the knowledge, hint hint knowledge, that has worked within the company or that brand. And then finally there's network marketing or direct sales, as some people, direct sales or MLM. I consider all those into one pot, where you have the benefits of a franchise, but also you also have a low startup cost than you would for a franchise. And I will go a little bit more in detail on that in the next slide. But let's go into the pros and cons of business. First off is there's an unlimited cash flow that you can have. The sky's the limit when you have a business. It all depends on how much are you able to bring into your company, whether it's through marketing or through the forces of work that you have on your team and different leveraging apparatuses that you have. The second one is you cannot get fired. Well, let me caveat that a little bit, because Steve Jobs was one of the few people that was able to get fired from his own company. But that's a different story altogether. But when you are in a company and you do not have stockholders involved, you cannot get fired because you are the boss, you are the CEO, and the only people you have to answer to is probably the government in that sort of fashion, which would be entities like the SEC and the IRS. And also, out of the main passive income streams, businesses created the most millionaires. And I think also, if I ain't mistaken, businesses are the main ones that created the most billionaires as well. Even though you might have Donald Trump that started off in real estate, he made it into a business which made him a billionaire as well. So now let's look at the cons of a business. It can be risky, especially if you don't have the know-how or knowledge. And it can be risky because you're putting in a lot of money, and most people don't understand that most businesses fail 9 out of 10 times in their first 5 years in business. And if they last that 5 years in business, within 10 years, 9 out of the 10 that survive the 5 years fail. So that means in a 10-year period, 99 out of 100 businesses will fail. So I like how some people, you can look at it both ways. One way is you can look at it on the bad side and say, oh, the risk is pretty high for a business. Or you can look at it from the optimistic standpoint and say, that is great. That only means that I need to start 100 businesses in order to succeed at one. The cons is it can have a high startup cost. So for example, you want to start your own business or like a food chain store or a restaurant. You may have to find a building, which can be a lease, which can be 3 to 99 years, depending on the lease contract. Then you have what they call the equipment that you will need. For example, with a restaurant, you will need a hood, which can run you about $10,000, $15,000. The stoves, tables, chairs, and the list can go on. And a typical startup cost for a business can run you from 50,000 all the way up to, let's say, $1 million. And now, how many people can actually say they have 50,000 to $1 million in the bank to just start a business? Not too many people, unfortunately. And finally, you can lose everything. If you do not have the right people surrounding you, then, like lawyers, CPAs, you can lose everything, especially if you're not protected correctly. For example, if you have everything in your name and you get sued, that person could take everything that you have. That means they could take your house, they could take your business, they could take your cars, they could take your dog if they wanted to. Yeah, even poor Toto, they could take Toto from you as well. Now, those are some of the things that you can experience with a business, but the rewards are just as great as well. So now let's look into network marketing. It has all the pros of a business. And then secondly, you can cut down some of the risks that you have with a traditional business or a franchise because there's a lower startup cost, as well as you don't have to worry about holding inventory in most MLM opportunities. And then there's a wealth of knowledge because not only do you get knowledge from other people, but you also have someone to mentor you as an upline, which they call an upline or a sponsor. So what they would do is they would try to give you as much information as possible because in network marketing, it's a win-win situation. If you succeed in network marketing, your sponsor succeeds. And so, therefore, they have it in their best interest to help you. Now, when you're in a traditional business and you work in, let's say, in a restaurant, it'll be kind of hard for you to go to like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or a major restaurant like a Applebee's and ask them for mentorship because you're their competitor. That would be kind of self-defeating for them, and there's no way of compensating for them for helping you in that aspect. It will actually hurt them more than help them if you succeed and they don't, in most cases. And then finally, you have a lower startup cost, which is one of the things that is a burden for most people in businesses that want to start a business, but they don't have the money. You can easily start a network marketing business for as low as $25 all up to $5,000, depending on the opportunity that you choose. So now with that, are you feeling the pressure of our down economy? What would you do? What would your life look like if you didn't have mountains of debt? And what if you had an opportunity to gain some financial relief? Would you take it? The good thing about it is I have a solution for you if you see fit. And so if you're if any of those fit your description, then I encourage you to stay on for the rest of this training. I have an opportunity that I would like to present to y'all, and it's called 5links. And you might be asking, what is 5links? Well, 5links is a telecommunication and technology company that just so happens to resell energy as well as insurance as well, just recently. So with any opportunity, you have to ask yourself why. Why are you doing this? Maybe you might want more time with your family. You want to diversify your income. You want to pay off debt. You know, college is rising in tuition, and you don't want your children to be in debt with student loans. You might want to save up for a college fund, or you want to give more to your charity. You know, your church might have had the building fund for 10, 20, 30 years, and the church is still in the same state that it is. You might want to help them probably get a new brick or something in their new facility. And then finally, you want freedom. You want financial freedom. Have options of what you want to do with your time. Maybe you want to spend more time with your kids instead of having to chop off 8, 9, 10, 12 hours of your day doing a job that's only paying you 7, 8, 9, $10 an hour. Now, me personally, my why for doing this, for doing network marketing, is pretty much start off from my beginnings. You have to know my beginnings. I was born and raised in a little city of Atlanta. I mean, in a little city in Georgia called Atlanta. Some of y'all might have heard of it. But as you may know, cost of living is kind of high in the metro parts of Atlanta. And I grew up in a single family household. My mom raised 3 kids, me being the oldest of, of and the only male, and 2 females. I have 2 little sisters. And the interesting thing about it was my mom was able to raise 3 kids with an income of less than $10,000. And as you can see, things could have been was really, really tight in those days. But we was able to make it and did pretty well. Well, let me scratch that. We did all right from my perspective growing up. But in actuality, we were poor. Yes, we were poor. We couldn't afford to be poor. We had to put the OR on layaway until I was 13 and I was able to get a job so that we can get the OR on off of layaway so we can afford to be poor. And so I saw how hard my mom worked. I saw how hard she cried at night. Even though she might have thought we were asleep, I was up and I could remember hearing her crying because sometimes she didn't know where the money gonna come for the bill that she has to pay, or where she's gonna find the funds to get some more food into the house for the next day. And I remember those things growing up, and it sparked something inside of me that when I was became working age, it it I'm sorry everybody, it's a little emotional for me to just rethink about those things, but it helped me to want to work, and it put a desire in my heart to say I would not want my mom to work as hard as she does anymore. I will try to find a way so that I can retire her, so that she can enjoy life and don't have to struggle anymore. And that also embedded something inside of me to do that for my future wife. And as I was able to do that for my wife currently. But that was one of the reasons why I had that deep desire inside of me as well. Because not only didn't like seeing my mom working hard, but I saw the benefits or the differences between myself and my sisters. My mom she was able to find ways to stay at home with me, to raise me, so I didn't have to go to daycare. Unfortunately for my sisters, it wasn't that case. And I saw more benefits as we grew up. And so I wanted to have that opportunity so that my wife, if she so choose, to stay at home with the kids. And then finally, my other why is one of my main cheerleaders had passed away when I was 20, and that was my grandmother. It hurt really, really, really much to my heart. And I looked at her funeral and I just remembered there was the church that she was a part of can seat up to 5,000 people. And at her funeral, there were so many people that all 5,000 seats were filled. And even there were people standing around in the church, even in the overflow section of the church, to pay their respects to my grandmother. She touched so many people's lives that for the first time, she filled up the church that she went to. And the church never feel, uh, experienced the overflow ever since. And the sad thing about it was, and the interesting thing about it was, not everybody that wanted to come was there. And so I looked at it and I said, wow, she touched so many people's lives. I want to do the same thing. But the thing that hit home to me was right after the funeral, the next day, I was sitting down with my mom at the table and she had her head down. And she said, you know what, Greg? Your grandmother sat down with me at the table just like this. And she told me that I came into this world poor and I'm going to leave this world poor. And she turned to me and she said, you know what? And that's what happened. She left the world poor. And so she started to say, you know what? Just like your grandmother, I came into this world poor and I'm going to die poor. And at that moment, something quickened inside of me. Something rose up inside of me. I can't explain it. And I looked at her straight in the eye and I told her, not on my watch. On this day, I'm going to end poverty in my family. The spirit of poverty, the shackles of poverty will end today. And so, if you ask me what my why is, those are my whys for doing it. And yours might be different. You might can resonate with that why. And you may not. But that's my why, and that will keep me going despite of the obstacles that may come. And if your why is not strong enough to make you make you cry or to make you stand up when you're knocked down, then I will proudly and honestly and will respectfully tell you that probably this opportunity nor any other opportunities will be right for you. So with that, let's go into the company. As you can read from the slides, it was founded in 2001. The co-founders have 60 years of experience. So therefore, you can see that there's longevity in this company. It's not a company that started yesterday or still in pre-launch phase. And also it has third party credibility, like Inc. 500, Direct Selling News, Your Business at Home, Success from Home, Your Business at Home. It's also been featured on uh, different journals. It also was on different business magazines as well as the newspapers. And so it's not only you're taking my word for it or taking a rep's word for it, you're taking a third party's word for it as well. So it's not just a first person dialogue, but there's other people that have spoke highly of the company as well. Of course, you may go on the web and see different negative marketings as well. But just like with any other opportunities, there's pros and then there's cons and then there's good reviews and then there's bad reviews. So let's look at the opportunity. If I were to tell you, if you know what you knew now, you went back to the 1980s and a guy by the name of Bill Gates said, I have this great idea that will help people, that will have people buying this product that they cannot live without for their computers, and it will revolutionize the PC industry. How many of y'all would have took on that opportunity? Of course, everybody in here, because at this time you would have been a millionaire or even close to a billionaire range. The same thing with MCI or Sprint. If you were in the long distance area when they deregulated the phone system and when they split up Bell Labs from a government agency and made it open to the commercial for competition. You would have been a millionaire if you had stocks in Sprint, MCI, or AT&T at those times. The same thing would have been for the internet. And now we're coming up on VoIP, text marketing, and the energy services. Energy is still in the process of deregulating. And there are companies in certain areas that are actually commercializing energy. So now will be the good time to actually look into energy if you have not already. And this opportunity has all this and more. Now let's talk about VoIP. VoIP can cut the cost of phone services by up to 50% because of the fact of you're not using a landline. By 2013, which is now, 44 million US households will be using VoIP services. And then also you can see the rest of the things as well. This is it available for residential and commercial. And also it has mobile calling apps available. So for example, if you want to save on your cell phone bill, you can get this get this mobile calling app to put on your phone. And if anybody has the app as well, you can call them for free so that you can save on your minutes during the daytime and use the free nights and weekends at night. I mean, free nights and weekends to do the regular calling. And this is the multi-million dollar state-of-the-art network. Now let's go into energy. Energy is moving to the point where it's making a choice for the consumer. So therefore, it's opening it up for competition for the different agencies. When it's fully deregulated, or now, even when it's not deregulated, it's 10 times the size of telecommunications. So imagine what it would be like when it's open for commercialization, or fully open for commercialization. And so with this, our company deals with natural gas and electric. So therefore, how many of you all would like a piece of the $500 billion industry pie? Of course, a lot of you would like to have that. And as you see here, these are the different arrays of products and services that we have available. And also, I will have to tell you that 5Links Mobile is has actually turned into our very own services that we deal with directly. And then also that is not on here is insurance. Our company is also an insurance provider as well. And so with this, let's start off with the compensation. Let's say you start off a team and you have 20 points. Now with the 20 points, that does not mean you have to have 20 individual customers. That just means that if you have a person to get a particular service, each service will be worth a certain amount of points. For example, if they got internet from you, that would be 1 point. If they got home phone services from you, depending on what service they get, it could be 1 or 2 points, and so forth and so forth. As you can see, one person can easily get you at least 5 to 10 points by themselves. And then if you find two other people that you want to help them save money or get some extra cash, and you get them qualified, then of course and you do all this in your first 30 days, you can easily get $750. And recently, our company has raised it a bit. So, excuse me, ma'am. Yes, you right there. I want you to remind me when I get to the end about giving everybody an update on what the company has raised on. Can you help me remember that? Awesome. Thank you. So now let's look at the monthly residual incomes. So let's say you get into a company, let's say you get into the company and everybody knows at least 3 people. And so let's say you get 3 people in and they get 3 people in and so forth and so forth. You can see on the right side, it can grow exponentially. So let's take an example of what residual income looks like. Let's say you build a team of 20 people, which can be easily done to the third level. And each person gets 20 billing customer. Remember, that's 20 points. And it doesn't have to be 20 individual people. And you have an average commission of 50 cents. What would your residual income be? $200. So you might just look at me and say, $200? That's it? But come on, think about it. If you had an extra $200, that could be your cell phone bill. If you had an extra $200, that could be your utility bill. If you had an extra $200, that could be your child's football league expense. Those could be different things with $200. $200 could be what somebody makes in one day. So imagine how much things could change with just having $200. But let me ask you this. How many of you all would reject an idea of me giving you $200 every month on the same day every month for the rest of your life? How many of y'all would reject that? Not a single person. So imagine that's what residual income is like. You do a job one time and you get paid on that idea over and over and over and over again. But easily as that, if you're tired of making $200, it's easy. I mean, it's easy to rectify that problem. All you have to do is increase the amount of people on your team. So instead of having 20 people, let's raise it by 10 to 200. We keep the same 20 billing customers and the average commission of 50 cents. Since you increase the amount of team from 20 to 10 by 10 times as much, your income goes up by 10 times as much. So now you're at $2,000 per month. The funny thing is, a lot of people that are working in places like DirecTV, Walmart, let's see, Macy's, or other places where they're getting paid minimum wage or $10 an hour or so. This is how much they make in a month. So as you can see right here, $2,000 could change a person's lifestyle. And so they can actually retire off of that $2,000 because they are making more from this company than what their job has offered them. So as you can see here, you can change people's lives just by doing this opportunity, by sharing this opportunity with people. And it's usually the same stuff that they're using over and over and over again. For example, everybody has internet. Everybody has a home phone. I mean, not a home phone. Everybody has a cell phone. I walked down the street. I mean, not walked down the street. I actually was driving down the street and I saw on a corner there was a bum. I mean, there was a homeless guy that was holding a "I will work for food" sign, and he had a cell phone on. He was talking on the cell phone. So if a homeless guy is able to have a cell phone, then I could imagine a lot of people have cell phones. And that's not the only product that we have. We have other products as well that can be leveraged and that most people use anyway, like satellite. Everybody looking at satellite or cable, especially around the Super Bowl time or the NBA Finals, everybody is looking for a good package. So you can use this to change people's lives not only in the company but outside of the company as well. Another way you could get paid is by being a leader. Now, how many people in here wants to be a leader? Out of all the books on Barnes and Noble, you see one or two things. You see self-help books to think positive or attract people, or laws of attraction, some things like that. And then you see books on the art of being a leader and so forth of that nature. But here you have an opportunity that will compensate you for being a leader. So for example, as you go up in the company, as you go up in leadership, you can get paid for bringing people in and sharing the opportunity with people. So for example, if you're a SVP, which I'm going to explain in the next slide, and you bring in someone directly, you can get $170. Keep in mind if they get qualified within the first 30 days. If not, if your IMR in your group comes in and they bring in somebody, you get $30. So as you see there, you can make on a range from $30 to $170 just by bringing somebody in and helping them make money. So as you see, as I was stating about the network marketing industry, it would be beneficial on both ends. It's a win-win situation. So as you make money, your upline makes money as well. So they have more in stock with them to make sure that you succeed so that they can succeed. Now the compensation. Now the final thing about the compensation. If you reach the ranks of senior vice president, the benefits are as such. You get 5,000 stock options. You get a BMW, which the only thing that you have to worry about is that the BMW payment has to be less than or equal to $800 per month, and the car has to be silver. And then also you get a Global Links bonus for being a SVP, and you get an annual vacation, all expense paid vacation to wherever the company may want to take you. And then finally, you get an expense account as well, which will be good for the annual vacations and things of that nature. And then finally, also if you get to the platinum senior vice president range, you can see how representatives do come first. Because on top of your BMW, you will get a Bentley. And also with the Bentley, there are two criteria. One is that it has to be silver and that the monthly payments have to be $4,000 or less. If you follow those two criterions after you get platinum senior vice president, they will send you to the showroom floor to get your personally Bentley. And then also you get something called a platinum pool, which is pretty much the revenues of all the services that are brought into the company that everybody buys. For example, the home phone, the cell phones, the global link services, etc. You get those as a part of your disbursement or bonus, which is called the platinum pool. Then you also get another $5,000 stock option. And then you also get a choice of a ring or a pendant for you and your spouse. If you don't have a spouse, then you I would recommend that you bring your mother or your cousin, your sister or somebody so that you can utilize those two options so that you can have a ring for yourself as well as a ring for someone else or a pendant for someone else. So here are some of the people that reached the level of PSVP, and they are range in difference in culture as well as backgrounds. For example, in the bottom right, Tashina Pettifer, she was a school teacher. If you look to the top right, Steve and Pasha Carter, Steve started off as a small business owner for his dad and decided that he did not want to work in a business all day every day and slave away on a business for 19, 20 hours. Then you go to the top left and you have EJ Prado, which his mantra is from the kitchen to the Bentley, because he used to work in a Chinese restaurant and he didn't know English when he didn't know that much English when he first started the company. And as you can see, they range from different backgrounds and walks of life. And one more final thing that I wanted to bring up is right next to EJ, which is the top middle, is Stan Richard, where his mantra is from the bus to the Bentley. He used to be a bus driver, even though they did well, him and his wife. he talks about how he used to work 12, 14, even 18 hours just to keep up with the lifestyle that they had. And it even got to the point where it was wrecking their marriage because they did not spend that much time with each other. And it got to the point where when things didn't go well, they had more month at the end of money, as many people can relate to that. Because when you look at the amount of divorce in our country, the main reason is due to financial. So as you can see with this company, you have the opportunity to help change lives, not only financially, but socially as well. Because if you're able to help a person financially, from statistics, you can lower the amount of divorce that we have in our country. So with that, if you want to lock arms with us and not only help you change your financial situation, but also change the financial situation of others, and maybe you can resonate and have a similar why that I had, where you're trying to destroy the chains of poverty in your family and in your lineage, so that you can have so that when your children and your generation look up to you, they say, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom, for bringing abundance to our lifestyle." Or, "Thank you, Granddad. Thank you, Grandma, for bringing abundance to our lifestyle." And that we do not have to go through poverty because you vanquish the spirit of poverty. If that sounds like you, then I would want to welcome you to our be an independent marketing representative, so that you can get most of the bonuses as well as the benefits that come with our organization. And so with that, if you don't see fit to be 249, then there's also the 99 option, but I wouldn't recommend that for the fact that the 99 is only linear. So you're only able to get paid on on services that you only bring in. Where 249, you're actually leveraging the benefits of network marketing, which is building a team and a team coming together to change the outcome of their financial situations. And so, oh yes, thank you so much for reminding me. Yes, as we stated before, the quick start bonus, if you get 20 customer points and you have two people that comes in and they get 4 customer points and become qualified, you can easily get $750. But our company have actually raised that amount. So instead of getting $750 in your first 30 days, you actually get $1,000 at the time of this recording for your for getting this actual bonus. And that will actually end, I think, the trial period of this raised amount will end as of October 1st, 2013. So if you can get in before then, so that you can get an extra $250 before they end that promotion. Let's see. So now let's go with so you might be asking, okay, if I get in, what training or support will I get? Well, we believe that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you get training and support from your upline because your upline has an invested interest in you because if you succeed, they succeed. Also, you get training from Five Links University, which give you different trainings from ET all the way up to PSVP to help you move through the ranks. You also get a personal website, which will run you an extra $15 or $49 depending on which package you select on top of the $249 that you get in with. And then also you have business reportings, which will depend on your $15 or $49 package. And then you also have live training events, which could be local, which are called BOMs. Then you have regional events, which happens every 4 months. And then you have international training events, which happens every 4 months. Now the regional events usually happens in many different places around the country, while the international event usually are held in a particular area and everybody goes to that area. So the next event would actually be September 18th in Orlando, Florida. So if you get in, definitely try to get a ticket for that event and check out and try to get to the Orlando event so that you can see the company as a whole. Because once you get to one of the international events, it becomes real to you. And actually, I have to apologize about that. Actually, when I said October 1st, that was incorrect. That was actually a different promotion. But the promotion is for September 15th because they wanted to get everything in order for the conference. So after the conference, they may extend it or maybe not, depending on how things go with this trial run for the $1,000 bonus increase. I mean the $250 bonus increase, which would be $1,000 in 30 days instead of $750 per month. And so with that, if you're ready and you see this as an opportunity for you, then definitely get an application or get with the person that invited you to this video, to this training, and then get with them to see how you can get started in this fine organization. Or if you ran across this video through me, click the link below to see how you can get started within my team so that you can fight the forces of evil and destroy poverty in your family, in your friends and families, and your friends' family, as well as those that are near and dear to you. So with that, this concludes this presentation. And if you see this as an opportunity for you, I say welcome aboard. If you don't, then I say thank you for taking out the time for looking at this opportunity, and may God bless you. And this concludes this presentation, and I thank you all for coming, and I wish you all much prosperity and success in your life, in your lifestyles. Take care, and God bless.